Hello and welcome to Bulls and Red, your go-to RB Leipzig podcast. Broadcasting straight from the heart of Leipzig, we bring you the latest buzz from the club, the fan base, and our vibrant city. Whether you're near or far, this is your ultimate home for all things RB Leipzig. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's ride the Rasenballsport wave together. And what a wave it is this season. So, let's welcome our brain of the podcast, Richard. I'm asking you, are you ready for a good podcast?
Ready when you are.
I'm always ready for a good podcast. I love to talk, even about RB Leipzig when it's not so great. So here we go. Thank you, Richard. Well, let's go. Let's talk about a little bit about last week when our team went out to the beautiful city of Freiburg in the Breisgau in that kind of new stadium, and we had a 0-0 draw, a clean sheet, but a 0-0 draw. And I'm asking you, Richard, do you have a key takeaway from that match?
Well, not really a key takeaway, but I think we had more of a mediocre, slightly better performance compared to the last weeks and months that what we saw from our lads. So especially compared to the week before when we lost at home versus Mainz 05. Because especially in the first half, I think, with a little more, have to be more clinical and a little bit more decisive right in front of the goal. And with a little bit more luck, we could have scored easily. So there was quite a few great chances, like the header from Bichabu after the corner, the open space that Baku once had after a crosser from Retreda, where he just made the wrong decision in not shooting directly or pass it over to Sesko. And you can name some other nice performances offensively, where often, the final pass or the last crosser did not find the head of one of our lads, but more often than not, the hands of Atubolo. And so the second half was not so good anymore, but on the other hand side, another not really key takeaway, but some glimpse of hope I see is defensively. Mm-hmm. So to be honest, Freiburg was not the offensive power that could bring any real threat to our defense. But nevertheless, we were concentrated for almost the whole 90 minutes, and especially Bichabu had a nice performance. And if we can keep calm and just trust in our abilities defensively, well, I think we might go for 13, 14, 15 more points towards the end of the season, and maybe with a little luck we could finally secure the spot in the Europa League.
Ooh, you didn't say Champions League.
No,
you meant
on purpose.
Okay. Well, we shall see, but maybe it's the competition which could lead us to our final at home. Hopefully not. I don't want to go Conference League. Anyway, of course, there was a lot of discussion after the match. Of course, discussions about our gaffer, Marco Rose. And Marco Rose tried to point out positive things as well, but it's becoming increasingly sounds like buzzwords. I think it doesn't have any real meaning to it, and people just don't see any development. But that's just us fans. We don't know what is really going on inside the club. And Marco Rose also put the responsibility onto the team as well, a little bit more than he did in those couple of weeks before. But the head of soccer at RB Leipzig, Marcel Schäfer, who was installed earlier this season, he actually remarked that RB Leipzig is handling this situation a little bit different, because a lot of people criticize clubs which get rid of the coach quite quickly, and RB Leipzig does it in a different way. They want to go through this challenging stretch with a coach who was born in Leipzig, who has won silverware, 2 trophies already, and they have the confidence that they can finish the rest of the season successfully with him, so they're going to stick to their guns. And they did say it is really remarkable that people on one hand may criticize that clubs are too quick in releasing the coach, and RB Leipzig's going a different direction, but he gets the same questions week in, week out. I got a solution for that. The team just needs to bloody start winning. If they do that, then we can forget about those. But anyways, that kind of killed the conversation discussions around Marco Rose for a little bit, and it didn't continue for the rest of the week. And the club was also very eager to put out more cozy, nice feeling, positive stories. So in the news, I found a little story regarding our new addition from the winter. I think it's 18-year-old French player Didion Gomis, and I probably completely mispronounced that name. I do apologize to all French speakers out there. And he joined us from the team, second-tier team Caen, which is now in last place. But he might be an indication of where RB Leipzig is going this summer, maybe integrating a lot more highly or very talented player or hopeful player. And he was actually subbed in when RB Leipzig played SC Freiburg. He had 2 + 2 minutes, so 2 minutes in regular time and 2 minutes extra time, and yet he added some fresh wind and showed initiative. He had 2 good scenes where he put the ball into the box. I think one was to Pausen, so he did show what he can do. But Marco Rose also remarked that he needs to add a little bit more weight on the physical side as well, but he's still young, so I'm sure he'll get more minutes during the remainder of the season, but also will feature quite regularly, hopefully, in the next season. So I found this quite interesting. I know RB Leipzig paid, I think, 700,000 euros, but he was also chased by the likes of AC Milan or Aston Villa. So a lot more people saw the talented player and scouted for that. But RB Leipzig secured that. Which brings me to our next topic, because there was a story about Daniel Bayer, who a couple of months ago was made the I love the title, RB Sport Coordinator. So he's responsible for scouting, data analytics, and something called Career Center. I have no idea what that is. It sounds very corporate to me. And he's also, he talked about, the path of people or players from the academy into the senior team and how difficult that was. Now, Daniel Bayer is also known as a player who had, I think, the record number of caps for FC Augsburg. I think more than 400. So very well known. And for RB Leipzig fans, he's very well known for a obscene gesture he made when Augsburg beat RB Leipzig many years ago. He has apologized for that, and he has explained it was a very emotional game. Yada, yada, yada. And of course, he distances himself from that. So let's believe in that. By the way, interesting fact, his brother Benjamin Bayer played for RB Leipzig in 2010, 2011. And I know we talked about this before. You said he had 21 caps in the 4th tier, didn't he? And he even scored a goal.
Yeah.
He scored a goal.
He scored one goal.
One goal.
Versus the second squad of Hannover 96. I almost remember that. You know what's interesting, because although it's quite a while that we played in the Regionalliga, and lots of players was with the club for very long. But I do remember quite a lot of names. But as you told me, it is Benjamin Bayer who played with RB Leipzig, and I was like, what? No way. So I checked the roster from that particular match at Hannover, and I was like, okay, so I was Klesener, and it was Rosin and Hertz. Oh yes, Hertz was with us, and of course Daniel Frahn and Stefan Kutschke and so on. And then, oh yeah, Daniel Bayer, okay. And no Daniel, Benny Bayer. So, okay, he was so off my recognition that I really, really do not remember any match or any scene that he has ever produced for or with RB Leipzig. Funny.
Do you know what I found interesting is the article? They kind of they lured me in by saying, okay, they introduce who Daniel Bayer is, and that's of course, and they started with this question, which I thought was really interesting, talking about this gesture. But then I was hoping to find out what kind of ideas they have that more academy players actually make the senior professional teams. And it just goes on to say that RB Leipzig has a great network worldwide in regards to scouting, so they are really good in that. And RB Leipzig's academy and the club has a very good reputation for young players to develop further and to have a good chance to make it onto the professional level when playing, senior professional level when playing football. And I think that's why they're really able to attract quite a few young players like that, talented. But did not answer the question how they can actually make the jump into the senior team. So even if you see Vico Gebel, who regularly appears and is part of the squad, he doesn't really play. And I wonder, okay, what is behind that? So he didn't really answer that question. But he did remark that there are quite a few players, ex-RB Leipzig Academy players, who are in teams playing on the senior professional level in professional leagues. Just not at RB Leipzig. So that's what was actually told in that article. Didn't help me too much. Doesn't give me too much optimism that more players are actually going to make that jump into the senior team. It is quite a jump, but if our team doesn't qualify for the Champions League, maybe not even for international football, maybe this is also a good chance to rebuild, regroup with young players from our own academy. We shall see. Now, another one who was in the sort of kind of news is Pete Gulaschi, our goalie, who now has 12 clean sheets under his belt. Last season, he finished with 15. And these are really top values. But on the other hand, last year, with his help, RB Leipzig really secured the 4th spot in the end quite comfortably. And I think in match week 32, when we beat Dortmund, I think we moved ahead 5 points and we were quite comfortably there. Now this year with the 12 clean sheets, the difference is there are a lot of draws in there. A lot of nil draws, like the one in Freiburg. So there's a huge difference. But Piccolashi is really concentrating on the match versus Dortmund, and he's also due to be back in the Hungary national team for the next matches in the I think Nations League. So he's definitely making a return there as well. So he's, with his 34 years, he's not done with that. Now, a lot of people may want to see Martin van der Voort already between the sticks. I'm not sure if this is going to happen this year, but I think next year the chances are really, really high for that. Now, RB Leipzig, the corporate PR team, is really working hard to make us feel better. So here's another good news that they pumped out. Xaver Schlager is not only on the training ground, no, he's back in the squad. So he might be an option for Saturday, not the starting line, and maybe be able to play a couple of minutes, but he'll definitely provide emotional support. He'll be there. And it was also remarked, well, we really miss him. You know, he only had 5 caps this year, not all of them 90 minutes. I think only a couple, because I remember versus Wolfsburg he was subbed in, and the matches following after that, he wasn't playing from the start now because, you know, he needs to adjust. Maybe he gets a couple of minutes on Saturday. But he's also a very important link from midfield to our attacking team, Sesko and Openda, and also I think he would help Xavi Simons as well. Can't wait for him to get back, and please, RB Leipzig, no more test matches for him. He doesn't need them, all right? Just leave him out. So, another positive news. An interview with Xavi Simons. And of course, Xavi Simons is going through a rough patch, same as RB Leipzig. And I always forget he's just 21 years old, but he earns allegedly 13 million euros per year. I can't believe that we're actually capable of spending so much money, you know. And on the other hand, we're paying 1.5 million for André Silva, and he doesn't play at Leipzig. So the other 1.5 million are borne by Werder Bremen. Nice deal. Sorry, guys. Anyways, so he's going through a rough patch, and he acknowledges that. And the difference to the Xavi of last year, when he was really excelling quite a bit, is that the opponents now know that he's quite dangerous and tricky and hard to keep him away from their own goal. So they give him a lot of special attention, and they know when they stop him, RB Leipzig attack stutters. And we see that, you know, because there's nobody else picking it up, like Xaver Schlager used to when he was working. And at the moment, Xavi's work is carrying a lot of weight on his shoulders, and he's quite used to that, even though we all know he learned how to play football in Barcelona, and so he's where he is used to a lot of responsibility. But I think it's also about strength, and we see how he tries each match, and we see how closely they guard him, they stop it and close him down. And when he wasn't there, when he was injured, I always thought, okay, and Xaver Schlager wasn't there either. I always thought Openda and Sesko are too fast for the rest of our team because they always seem to be out there on their own. Now with Xavi there, it seems like the three of them are out there in front on their own trying to do something. So we're still missing. That's just my observation. So we're still missing a vital link. And remember last year, Schlager and Haidara, they worked really well as a tandem as well. So a lot of centers around Xaver Schlager, obviously. But I'm not really sure if he comes back in time for us to be brilliant again and to rectify everything that has gone wrong. We will see. But he's not in despair, Xavi Simons, so that is a good thing. He acknowledges it's a rough patch, which is only going to make him better, and it's part of the development. And all in all, and that's corporate speak, he is still optimistic that the end of the season is going to be positive. We shall see. Keep our fingers crossed. We will see what happens on Saturday. I'm sure we talk about it a little bit further. But here, let me get to the climax. Because, like I said, the PR and marketing team is really busy. And they're putting up posters in Leipzig, which are nice. They put up posters anyway. But they have 3 types of posters. Each poster showing a different player, our key players. One of which is Willi. And the tagline says, Willi can do anything, which is great. And to be honest, yeah, of course Willi can do anything. Remember, first match under Marco Rose, it was versus Dortmund, who sneaked into the box and put that header in. I think it was 2-0, sector day. Willi Orban, or the famous 2-0 quarterfinal, Dave Bebokal, 8 men on the counter, 4 stopped at the halfway line, 4 continued, 3 almost bottled it, but Willi put it in there to put us through. So, yes, Willi can do anything, and he tries. And also, Xavi Simons. And of course, Xavi Simons can do anything. We remember that. But a key moment from last year, last year when we played Dortmund at home, we had 2 VAR scenes. First one, when decision went against us, when Openda already had the ball. He wanted to take that penalty, but he had to give it back to Kobel. But the second scene was the equalizer by Openda, and there was a long check. That was a long VAR, I remember. But then I remembered how Xavi passed the referee, who started to make a gesture that, the check was negative, and the goal was the decision on the field stood. And he took off, Xavi took off, ran towards Openda, and almost smothered him. And the whole team followed. And that was a beautiful scene. That just showed the unity, a bit similar to that, goal that when Openda scored the goal versus Eintracht Frankfurt in the DFB Pokal. Anyway, enough of that emotional stuff. But yeah, of course, we know Xavi can do anything. But the best one, I think, is a third poster showing off Sesko. With the tagline, of course, Sesko can do anything. And everybody's going to remember, 27th of April, the extra time in the first half, corner, I think, from the left-hand side. I was in sector day. I saw it all. It was beautiful. And the ball was kind of cleared by the Dortmund players. Adeyemi missed it, so it sort of left the penalty box. And who was there, sort of central position, and just took a shot from the outside. Well, Xaver Schlager. Kobel was able to save it, but he only cleared it to the side. And he came running with those long legs and put that thing under the bar. Sesko. And started running. Everybody was roaring. He took off Sesko. And I just think, Benjamin, Sam, do it again. Just do it again. All right. We want to see it 3 times this time. So hat-trick would be nice. We know you can do it. Although you didn't show it in the last couple of matches so greatly. But hey, it'll be back. And Saturday will be the best time to do it. So yeah. I agree. Sesko can do it. So, Richard, What do you think? Can we do anything on Saturday?
Introducing our next opponent, their Gegnercheck.
Next question.
You want to call a friend?
Yes, sir. Well, Dortmund. I do remember last time when we were the kind hosts of a team that had to play under the week.
Oh,
We outshot Heidenheim 2-0. We sent them home with a 2-0 draw.
Yeah, they didn't beat us. They did not beat us.
That's what makes me quite optimistic now, to be honest. It's going to be a heck of a task. So, yeah, Dortmund's going to a hard season. It's a very hard phase. And even in the, past Nuri Sahin era and the Niko Kovac era has started, well, in general, the outcomes of their matches did not change much. So they had, with Nuri Sahin, the season 1.3 something points per game, and now they are 1.4 something. And they lost 3 times. In the very first match of Niko Kovac, they lost 1-2 versus Stuttgart. And, so it's like something's not really comfortable within this whole squad. So they had struggling with injuries from the start of the season. But now more and more players are back and recovering. So, what's remarkable still is this is a high pressing machine, a high or deep pressing machine. And, we particularly saw it, or I saw yesterday, when they played their away match at Lille in the round of 16 in the UEFA Champions League. Mm-hmm. They are so relentless for the whole 90 minutes, or like at least 85 minutes. Or the last 5 minutes, they step back a little bit and keep watching what Lille is trying to do. And it wasn't much, to be honest. But the whole other time of the whole match, there is Girassi on the very first row. It's always chasing the ball. And then there comes, of course, Brandt or Adeyemi. And, and the most annoying guy in that whole squad is Pascal Groß. Oh, man, this guy is so annoying because he is pushing and throwing all he's got for the whole, in any second he's on that pitch. And that's what I'm missing from one of our lads. That he do not care about what might go wrong. He's always trying to do his best. And then more often than not, it's a good thing when he's starting to go on high pressing and try to go for the goal line. And so this guy, he doesn't score, to be fair. He scored not a single goal that Bundesliga season, but he had like 6 assists. And this comes from that he's always on level with the very first row when it comes down to striking options. And what's one thing that changed after Niko Kovac took over, so at least statistically, they found or seemed to found their balance back in the defense. So in that streak before Nuri Sahin was sacked, there was almost no game when they did not concede a goal, or even when they statistically should have conceded at least one. And put that Bochum match aside, where it was everything against Dortmund. They had 74% the ball and like 15 shots or something like that. And then Bochum came with like 6 opportunities and scored twice and had 2-point-something X goals in that match. Put that match beside, and all other matches, Dortmund in this Niko Kovac era, their opponents did not have one. Okay? So somehow it seems that they find back their balance, not only defensively, but also the cohesion between the several units of this of their lads seems to be a little bit more stable than it was in the first 17-18 matches of the season. Mm-hmm. So that leads me to, when I started with my analysis here, it's going to be a heck of a task. And, we have to find ways to go beyond their high pressing, their deep pressing. And one way to do it is don't be afraid to play the long ball and do it quick. Do not let them recover into their own half. We will very rarely find options to pin them deep in their own territory. Mm-hmm. And even if we should make it like that, well, then this is not the way that fits our match. We're always struggling, finding winning ways, finding scoring ways from the open play. And the deeper the opponent's squad stands in their own half, the harder it gets for our lads.
Yeah.
So we have to find velocity in our playing style, and we have to try everything for quick ball recoveries. And then we might go with high efficiency for a 1 or 2-0 lead. And well, then we have good chances, because on the other hand side, I talked about a lot that this is a high intensity pressing machine. But on the other hand side, besides Girassi, no one seems to score. Mm-hmm. Okay, Gittens has 7 goals, but all the other offensive threats, like Adeyemi, 3 goals only this season. Okay, he was injured for quite a long time, but still, I'd expect more.
Yeah.
Or let's take away Brandt or Bayer or even Sabitzer. No one of those is scoring in a consistency way, on a consistent way, and that's why they are not in the top flight, on the top, top teams in the league this season. But they are still capable. I think the squad is still talented, highly talented, and I would go that far to say it's better than ours.
Yeah.
And although if you just look at the market value, it seems not to be the case. But honestly, I think this is just more stabilized. And if you want to spot one weakness in this whole squad, then it might be their left defender. Mm-hmm. So they had an addition of Svensson during the winter break, and he's now unfortunately out with an injury. So this building site is now for repair again. And sometimes it's Benzabaini who plays there, and sometimes it's Ryerson who changed the side. Usually he's a right defender. Sometimes Kovac put him on the left side and put Waldemar Anton on this right defensive side. So it seems like to be a spot where there's no that high level of stability. And with the performances that Baku showed in the last weeks, that makes me quite confident and optimistic too, that might be a case to find something here, to try to overload that right side that we saw at Freiburg, where Campbell was almost for the whole 45 minutes he was able to play on that right side and trying to put pressure on this side. Mm-hmm. And if we should be able to do this again, that might be something that we could exploit. Mm-hmm. Their allegedly weak left defensive side in their back four. So, conclusion: play quick, play fast, don't hesitate much, and we need high efficiency and hold the concentration defensively. And then we could come away with the win here. And if we do so, then we could, send Dortmund almost out of the competition for international football next season.
I would never write them off, though. This is the time when they come back and start a long winning streak. And of course, they're going to try to do this at Leipzig. They're also wondering why they still, like last season, show different faces in the Bundesliga and a different face in the Champions League. They did manage to get into the they did manage to get into the last 16, and they did manage to get into the quarterfinals. Now, I think that is very respectable. But on the other hand, in the Bundesliga, it's a different story. Also, the away games, I think they only won 3 so far. But all of this aside, it's going to be a highly emotional game anyway. And they hate us. I'm not sure if the active fan scene is going to boycott us again. So the ones who are there, BVB supporters are going to be those, slightly not so noisy ones. But RB Leipzig just needs to play everything into there. It's every match is now a final of some sort. If we still want to have any chance to get to a Champions League spot, or at least Europa League or conference, it would be strange. But you never know. This season is really strange. All the teams there are very tight. And some of the teams you think they pull away, but then in a couple of matches later on, you get them again. So We're going to be there. Well, I'm going to be there. Definitely. Everyone else is going to be there. There's going to be no shows. Nobody's going to dress up as a seat. So it's going to be full and packed. Atmosphere is going to be great. Everyone's going to support them. What do you predict in terms of score?
Let me be optimistic and I say, come on, you just jinxed it, and I want to see a hat-trick of Sesko, 3-0.
I'm going to go with a 4-2. Yeah, if you win, Pete, it's okay to let in 1 or 2. But hey, we gotta start winning, and the best way of finishing or ending or silencing those discussions around Marco Rose, just start winning. That'll be awesome. Thank you. Now, who's Marco Rose going to send on the pitch? Let's go to that point.
Liebe Fußballfans, wir kommen jetzt zu unserer heutigen Mannschaftsaufstellung.
Well, never change a team.
I was thinking
not
winning.
losing.
How long ago was that?
No, honestly, Goalless, of course. Although I like to see Van der Voort here because I talked about quickness, but it's not that what I expect from Marco Rose, because he told the reporters and the whole press last week that he won't do any changes in the league.
Okay.
In goal. Okay,
so we have a quarterback back who waits until everybody settles down and then he calls a play.
and exactly, starts to count and all this stuff. So 3 back, I think 3 center backs again, Bijabu, Orban, Retraider. I like those 3.
Okay.
Raum Baku as well. Then I would like to see Vermeeren next to Kampel, Simmons, and of course Sesko and Openda. Well, self-explained.
Yeah, we haven't got so many different options, but sounds like a plan. Let's hope. And I'm sure they got a plan. Let's hope it works out. Guys, thank you very much for listening. This has been Bulls and Red, your go-to RB Leipzig podcast from the heart of Leipzig, brought to you wherever you are on this planet. We don't care. If you like this pod, consider subscribing to it on your favorite platform. You can leave a message, comment in the show notes. And, well, if you want to send us an email, you can do so by typing in podcast@bullsandred.com. We hope you have a great weekend. Let's push for the 3 points. Do as much as we can. Send them good vibes. And hopefully talk to you again next week. Take care, guys. Vielen Dank, Richard. Dankeschön. Thank you. Auf geht's. Leipziger Jungs.